Okay, hi everyone. So today I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to move quantifiers below. I thought I had already talked about the things that go along with truth tables, but I did not. So I also recognize that I haven't been, I don't think I've formally said, like if you double click on the right hand side, the PDF that you're reviewing, if it's already updated or already compiled, the part that you're looking at, you can click on stuff. So if you like added a bunch of stuff up here and then try to click on something here before recompiling, it'll bring you to just that spot in the code. So like it won't bring you to the spot that says the first sentence, it'll bring you to whatever line in the code this is. At least that's been my experience. Yeah, let's do this one by one. Begin, center, because you're probably going to want it all in the center. So we want to be in math mode. Okay, so you begin array, and then this tells it how many columns wide it needs to be. And then you write your first thing, H line. So if you were doing some list that wasn't a truth table, you don't need the H line. The H line just puts this line here to let you know that, oh, the first thing is a statement and then it's going to be true or false values. But just like normal, you want to tell it when a line ends and begins. Okay, so let's say you wanted two things. Let's say you also wanted to talk about not P maybe. So then I would put an and, or an ampersand, just like we did in XY matrix. And I would say neg P. Okay, H line still works. And then these would be opposite. Okay. So the two C's just tells it, hey, I have two columns. Okay. But this line gives a divisor between gives a dividing line between the two columns. So neg means not, right? And then V is our OR symbol. Well, why don't I think that's in another video, what they each mean. That's more what has to do with the class. This is just about LaTeX. And then wedge, right arrow, left arrow, but the L and the R are capitalized. And then the if and only if is IFF. See, we have all of our little friends. So I realized there's some things that I left off from the number thing. Okay, maybe I should say like end of part 2. Okay, so one of which is square root. So if I do square root of 2, okay, so then you might be asking, well, how do I do cubed root or the nth root, yada, yada, yada. So what you're going to do is you're going to type in the square root, but then you're going to do these kinds of brackets, these like square looking brackets. And so you just type in whatever you want. So let's say 3. And now we still need these curly brackets for like 4, I don't know. Okay, so see how that puts the 3 up there. And then, so if you don't like that, you could totally, and you use like cubed root or something all the time, you could redefine this definition. Like I talked about in the first video. I think it was the first video. Yeah, it was the first video. Okay, so we have talked about summation. So remember the sigma, the capital sigma means the sum, means a summation of things. So at the bottom you write like I equals 0 and then you go to like n maybe. And so that means you sum every single step of the way. So your gut instinct might be to say, well, why don't we do it like this, where I do that on the bottom and then that on the top. And that's fine. I'm not like upset with this. A lot of people do write it like this, but for me, I prefer to do it like this. So first I'm going to say under set. Well, okay, let's talk about that first. So if I want to go under set, let's say I'm unioning over an index I. I could do cup. Oh, sorry. The first one is what I'm putting underneath, and then cup is what I'm put on top. So like, let's say I'm summing up a bunch of sets AI. Okay. So this I below just means I'm summing, sorry, not summing. I'm unioning over the index I. So for all AIs that I have, so that's just under set. And so let's start here, so I want to underset. So beneath I want to write I equals 0. But I want that to be underneath everything, right? So I also want something on top of sigma. So now I'm going to say overset. Okay, so that's part of this second bracket. And so now let's say n. And then here, that's where I'm going to finally say backslash sigma. Okay, so if we break that down, we have this. So that's what goes inside of here. Oops. Oopsie-daisies. Okay, so this part is what I'm writing I equals 0 underneath, right? And so then this overset piece here, that's a little bit easier to understand. I'm just saying put n above my capital sigma, okay? And then put I equals 0 underneath this whole thing. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So you could do it with other things, not just sigma. Do it with a lot of things. You could do it with this thing. So maybe I put overset on the outside. Overset, and so maybe it's n, and then maybe I starts at 2, I don't know. And then, oops, I don't want to include AI. I want that to be outside of this craziness. So now I have this. Okay, so maybe I have an AI for I equals 2 all the way up to I equals n. Alright, so you could do either way. It's not like I'm mad at one or the other. It's just I like this way a lot better. Okay. Alright. Okay, so the last thing I could think of for this video is, so the hello is just to give you some reference of where they are. So C dots gives you dots in the center. L dots give you dots that are down the bottom, and then V dots give you up and down. I'm sure there's plenty others, but those are the 3 that I use most often. Usually the lower ones I use for numbers, and the upper ones I use for words. And the V dots is like I'm skipping a bunch of things in between 2 statements maybe. Okay, see you next time. Bye.